Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Press Pause with Jouhayna. On today's episode, I have Maitha Alowais. She's an intuitive eating coach, holistic nutritionist, and my favorite part, a dessert creator. I'm so excited you're here.
I'm so glad. And I hope you enjoy your treats.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So this is season 4 now. And when I told my husband you're coming over, he's like, you're the first person he's excited about. And I interviewed my mother. I interviewed your mother. Like really and truly, he's like, the one with the treats? I'm like, yes, the treats. And he was just like, okay, I can't wait. He's like, I can't wait till she leaves so I can have some treats. I'm like, you don't even know she's bringing any.
Well, hopefully you'll enjoy this one.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm really excited because when I was creating your cue card, I opened it up and I was like, oh, because it's a pre-order at the moment, right?
Yes.
Live.
Today's the first day of delivery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the first delivery, guys.
I think you actually have.
I'm so excited. So before we begin, we will start a rapid fire round and then introduce you properly.
Okay.
Okay, ready? So just tell me the first thing to pop into your head when I say a certain word, and it's just with a sound timer.
Okay.
And I'll watch it, so don't worry.
All right.
If you want to watch it as well.
No, it's okay.
Okay, ready? And 1, 2, 3. Destination.
Maldives.
Dessert.
Chocolate cake.
Superpower.
Ability to read mind.
Oh, nice. Animal.
Cat.
Bucket list item.
Oh my God. Why can't I think of this? Something baby related, I'm sure.
Yeah. I love it. Breakfast.
Avocado toast.
Phone app.
Calm.
Dream job as a kid.
Actually, I want to be a baker.
Oh, yeah. That is so nice. So full circle. Oh, aroma.
Ooh, I like, oh my God, I can't even say things. Let's just say lavender.
Lavender. I do like lavender. Reminds me of aroma. Board game.
Monopoly.
Happy place.
Home.
Podcast.
What am I listening to? Jay Shetty.
Oh, yeah. I do. I really enjoy his episodes. Emotion.
Happiness.
I love that. So are you feeling warmed up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Maitha, can you introduce yourself for everybody?
Yes. So my name's Maitha. And I'm going to say I'm somebody who really loves to, or like is obsessed with creating really delicious desserts. Mm-hmm. I am a big sweet tooth lover, and a lot of people don't think that. And I actually get questions after, or if they see me in person, be like, Maitha, do you really eat dessert like every single day? And I'm like, yes, I do. But I've really struggled in the past with just having that like healthy relationship with food, from not being able to eat something because of an intolerance to when I did give myself that opportunity, I would overeat everything. You know, it was like the extremes of all or nothing kind of mentality. So I would say that is a big part of why I do what I do. So I've converted to wanting to really create those desserts that are just going to create that nourishment for your mind, your body, and your soul, which I find that is lacking right now, because if there is something that's healthy, the first thing is let's focus on how many calories are in there. Let's focus on that. But that takes away from what you're actually trying to do as a nourishing side. The other part of me is that I absolutely love to dance. Anytime I hear music, I find that movement in any form or shape has really helped me and has actually been my therapy. So
that's so nice.
When you see me on social media, I'm very happy, I'm excited. And honestly, that is all because of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. And that's really movement. Even during the times when, when I was even pregnant, my first trimester was like, I was nauseous and so forth. But I realized that even just like 5 or 10 minutes of movement just set up my day. And it made me my Maitha, like made me Maitha that you see.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So what else could I say about myself? I also, because I realized like I don't want to use like my titles as to just be like, who is it that I am? But I also kind of go deeper into like,
exactly.
Okay, like what is something that maybe you don't think of Maitha? I'm actually also an introvert. And not many people might know that. Okay. I exude the extrovert as a person. But even when you said, what is like that place for you? For me is home. Okay. I really think that, just creating an environment for yourself wherever you're at that can create that sense of like peace, that sense of feeling. It's so big to me, and it helps me to really connect deeper into my like creative zone and my creative genius, I guess. Have you ever heard of that, being like tapping into your creative genius?
Yeah. It's when I'm face down getting a massage, I get great ideas.
Do you really?
Yeah, that's actually how I came up with the Burj Banter Jenga game.
No way.
Yeah.
See, I feel like just having that environment for you and knowing what it is for you as well, I feel like it's such a power that you can unlock into doing what you really want to do. Also doing things that you just never thought could ever be possible.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like this morning, I always make sure once I've woken up, I listen to something educational, because that's when your brain is like a sponge. Yeah. And one of the things was, if you're feeling a little stuck, go for a walk, because then it gets your mind off things and gives you all, your subconscious takes over and you get better ideas. So if you come up with a problem and you don't know how to solve it, just go for a little walk.
Yeah.
Get your body moving, find a safe space to do it.
Yes, exactly. Just creating that, and also creating that thought interruption, that because once you feed too much into something that you're not even like being able to see properly, it's not going to get better with just focusing on that. So as you said, like just stepping out of that.
Exactly.
So yeah,
I love that. My next question was going to be, how do you describe yourself about titles? But you did so good with
Oh my God.
asking. I love that you have that depth to you already.
I mean, I don't know, like sometimes I think that it's easy to also lead it with that way. And I'm not going to lie, I always probably led it that way. But I also think that, what does that even mean? Like, I'm a, in a 2 okay, what does that mean? Like, what am I trying to do behind what is there and what you can read from a first point, right? Yeah. And I think that, like, for me, I know it's one of those things, but like such a big mission of mine and something I truly believe, and I would love to do it here in the region. It's just like, first of all, we are so lucky and so fortunate to be in such a position here in our country where like literally we have the ability to really do what we can and what we want to do with the support, with incredible,
with a lot of support.
It's immense amount of support. And so for me, it's like, oh my God, like I can get this platform. Like, for example, I'm going to be very honest with social media. Sometimes I'm just like, what do I need to post? What should I do? Like, oh, and then I just get so overwhelmed where I feel like I have like this paralysis, like of posting, of what to say, what to do. Where there are times where I find that I'm like, I have this smooth and this groove. And then I remind myself, like, first of all, I don't have to do anything. You get to do it.
Exactly. And that's what I have to keep reminding myself on the podcast. Like, even for the month of October, I decided to pause because I was feeling overwhelmed with everything that's going on in the region. And I was like, you know what? Press pause is going to pause. And I get to decide that. I don't have to ask anyone's permission. So
Exactly.
It's just a reminder that it's okay to go by your own schedule. All because the, in air quotes, algorithm says you have to do something doesn't mean you have to. Exactly. Whatever you want, when you want, how you want. Especially if you have the luxury to be able to do so, and remind yourself it's okay.
100%. And I feel like when I try, like when I feel those kind of like, oh, I don't know what to say, or is what I'm going to say important, I think I get too caught up in our head, which we all do. So I try to like change that narrative. It's like, what is it that I get to do versus what I have to do? And so when I think that way, I go back to like, what is it that I'm trying to do? I'm really trying to encourage people just to see, I don't know, it's like just to see desserts differently. And it's not just about only eating desserts that are like free from, gluten, dairy, eggs. I can keep going on with this list, but it's just about like knowing that it's okay to treat yourself on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
And it doesn't have to be just dessert. It can be whatever it is, and not feel guilty about it, and not feel like you have to work it off just in order to have this moment, right? Like there's so many of those places in mind. So it's really about that. And then like we can try to move away from these really crazy strict diets. Now, I'm not against anybody wanting to improve their health, wanting to be on that journey. But I think that the approach needs to change, because so many times when I find people who want to be in that journey, they kind of do that like traditional route of just, what should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? Instead of thinking, okay, what is it today that I can eat that's going to make me feel better? Again, just a switch narrative from what can I add rather than what should I not have? Because you're then operating from a place of scarcity to now a place of abundance, right? So it's just like these small little things that I think can be so overlooked, but it's the little things that build up the big things.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, I feel like I, like a lot of people, and it's not what many women specifically admit. I emotionally eat. I have a stressful job and I'm a stress eater. My weight has fluctuated over the last decade, 30 kilos on, 30 kilos off, just because I go on strict dieting or, okay, I'm going to start a meal plan that I wouldn't have really enjoyed. And then I'm like, ooh, the minute nightfall comes, I'm like, let's get some McDonald's or something like that, you know? And then also with shift work and a lot of different changes in the time I have to wake up and everything. You wake up, you're tired, you feel emotional, and you're like, I'm gonna have a really sugary cereal instead of like maybe having something nutritious. Right. So what would your tips be? Like, give us 3 tips for the audience on how to do that when you do have that moment of, I'm just gonna give in and have whatever I feel like.
Yeah, you know, I think there's a few different things about this. Like, I also expect, like, and I respect that, like, you have limited time, there's a lot going on, there's so many things. I think, like, the simpler, the better. So even, for example, if you can do a prep, something that's not going to take you, if it's not going to take you more than 5 minutes, would you be willing to prep for it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. So, like, I just give you as an example, like, I think that if you can do these 5-minute prep things, like, for example, if you can make literally overnight oats for, like, 5 days in just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 days for 5 minutes. And put all the favorite things, because what you just said there was a big part. Making a meal plan that I already know that I'm not excited to start eating. Yeah. That's a big one that I would advise against. Because if you are already not excited, you've already created this narrative. And what's going to happen? Your brain's going to want to rebel, right?
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, I'll be good, quote unquote. So do something that is just one thing. I'm not asking you to prepare all your meals, because honestly, meal prepping can be overwhelming as well.
It is overwhelming. Very overwhelming.
One thing, only one thing that might help you. Maybe the start of your day that requires the 5 minutes, right? Okay. So that's one thing. The other thing is make sure the foods that you're eating, you actually enjoy, right?
Okay.
Because then you're not going to keep up with it. And I think that there's going to be different ways of doing that. So, for example, if you're someone who's like, I know, but I love my noodles and I love this, don't take that away. Like, keep it inside.
Okay.
Why don't you add, like, I don't know, extra vegetables in there, but make it tasteful, right?
Yeah.
So that's a second part. And then the last part is also, it's okay to also emotionally eat. And I know maybe people don't think that.
Okay.
So it's like, why not create that space for it? Why not take, you know what? When I have this, I'm going to try not to go more than 2 to 3 times a week, doing this like thing. But like, let's make it in a way that is not going to control me, but I'm going to control it.
Okay.
Right? So what is your favorite thing to eat when you're like stressed?
So yesterday was my do nothing day, and where I sat and did nothing.
Okay.
Except for call and order some pepperoni pizza, extra pepperoni, extra crispy.
Right.
I had it, and I told myself I'm not going to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Because I've worked with my life coach, and she's like, if you feel bad about it, your body will hold on to it.
100%. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, why don't you put those in there? Or like, that maybe that day's a special day. You're going to put that in. And it doesn't dictate the rest of the day, or the fact that like, okay, if I had this, I might as well just keep eating this way because tomorrow's a new day. Just dedicate that, decide the amount of that you're going to eat, and then enjoy it. Because if you don't, then that's it. Like, you're taking away from what you were going to do, and you're going to feel guilty, and then it's going to repeat itself.
Interesting. Yeah. What is your take on calorie counting?
I don't like it.
Okay. I don't enjoy it.
Yes.
It takes me back to being 15 and restricting myself heavily.
Listen, there's a lot of like controversies. Like, there's so many people will say, no, but if you don't calorie count, how are you supposed to achieve your goals, and how are you supposed to? Now, of course, if you are someone who is going to go on these like really intense muscle shows, or like, you are an athlete, a professional athlete. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to go and talk about that, because that's beyond my scope, and that's really not the ordinary person that I'm probably working with or speaking to.
Yeah. And you work with over 100 women.
Yes.
I love that.
So I'm not trying to focus on that, because that's beyond what I do. But I feel like usually the counting, it could sound great, but there are different ways to do it where you still feel like if you needed to track, or if you needed to feel like, okay, I know myself, but when I put this plate, like, I will just eat more. There are so many smarter ways than that, because when you count, you will become obsessive. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
If it's not going to start today or tomorrow, it's going to be that. And then there's going to be days that if you eat less, you're going to be a little proud of yourself, because you're like, look at what I did.
Yeah.
But then that's just going to come back at you.
Exactly.
And it's going to bite you in the back, because maybe not today, not tomorrow. Like, our body's incredible. It knows what you're doing. Your body, in its state, when it knows that you're doing a deficit that's really low, they're like, oh my God, they're starving me. That's all they think of. They're like, oh, are we on a diet? No. So it's like, okay, they're starving me. What can I do? I can hold on to fat, or I'm gonna like push those neurotransmitters stronger in my brain to make me sure that I eat the bread or whatever it is. So I don't advise it. One thing you can do is you can either have smaller plates, because if you have a big plate and you have a little bit amount of food, your brain is already going to say, oh my God, she's underfeeding me.
Okay.
Because you can just see like already how much less you have. So smaller plate, make sure it's vibrant, it's got everything in there. I'm 100% all about inclusivity in terms of starches and carbs and everything. And then if you want to count plants. Do you know what a plant is?
Count plants?
Yes, like
Plants?
no, it's a good one. So when I say count plants, I actually mean, and it just goes beyond the fruit and a vegetable, okay? So you may or may not have heard, but having around 30 different plants a week, it helps to promote like a healthy gut.
Oh, okay.
And so you might think, okay, but that sounds like a lot and that's stressful, right? Because again, like we're going to go back to, I think when people think of eating healthier or having choices that are going to be more nourishment, like do you think it sounds overwhelming or feels a bit overwhelming?
Well, I'm coming from a perspective of emotional eating and then just resorting to the easiest fix. Yeah.
Coming
From that mindset, definitely.
100%. So like instead, like even just simple things of like, for example, what a plant is not just a fruit and vegetable. It's an herb, it's a legume, it's a nut, it's a seed, it's a grain, it's a pulse.
Oh, wow.
It's honestly, the list is pretty long. So if you were to put something together and you had like sweet potatoes, brown rice, you put a dressing that has different herbs in there, you've got a few different vegetables. Even, by the way, a bell pepper that's red and a bell pepper green are counted as two different.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah. So it's just as simple as that. So that already can have like 50 plants. And your thing is to have 30 plants different a week.
Oh,
so it's really not that bad if you think about it. But if you're someone who wants to count your plants, basically.
So if you have one red pepper on a Monday, does a red pepper on a Tuesday count as... And it has to be different.
It has to be different to be in the 30.
Okay.
But remember, all those herbs, the oregano that you're adding, whatever that is, a cumin, all of that, turmeric, that is included as a plant.
Oh, good to know.
So
curry all day, every day.
Pretty much.
Yes.
So you see what I mean? Like it's not as... I don't think it's... I think it's so important to like show how accessible it can be just by simple things like that.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I did count calories in the past. It did not help me. I had a binge eating disorder. Okay. And that was something that went on for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And I basically, no one had known how bad it was. Everybody had thought Maitha was, Maitha's a healthy Maitha. I've always had that like label. Even in high school, I would take like my cucumber to like school and things like that. But I didn't realize that it had gotten bad because it was just eat healthy, quote unquote, whatever that meant, which meant low calorie, low carb. And then when I was living by myself, because I studied abroad, I was just, there were moments where I'd be like really stressed. And it would be like it's the night thing. The night brings out a different side of you. As
it does. The sun goes down and you're like, no one can see me.
Yes, exactly. And so that would be when it started. And it just went on for a long time. So even when I talk about this, it's because I've lived it. I think sharing your lived experience and learning from that and seeing like, showing to others that like it can be different can be so strong versus me just being like, I think I like this topic of emotional eating. I think I'm going to teach her. No, I've lived there. I've been there. And that's why I feel so strong about how there are other ways, you know?
And how long have you been doing coaching specifically for this?
Coaching. So for coaching itself, it's been about 2.5 years.
Okay.
And before that, it was one of those things where like I started my dessert business in 2020.
Okay.
And during, COVID, and I always felt like when I would give my health tips or like, I think it was in more than 1 month that I decided to share my story. I got on the platform, never not really knowing anybody. And I was just like, hi, by the way, just want to let you know, I struggled with food for 10 years. And I want to share this because you might look at me and be like, oh, look, yeah, but like, she doesn't have an issue. She's that control person, or, they can bring up all these different stories, which could look like that. Because, right, I mean, if you think about a lot of these like health brands, or you might, if you see the founder and they look like they have a health lifestyle, you probably won't be like, you probably would think like, yeah, that person's always kind of had it together.
Yeah.
I struggled here and there, but I wanted to show them that like, actually, I couldn't even bake cookies because I couldn't trust myself with the cookies.
Oh,
right.
Wow. Okay.
It was one of those things where it was like, now in the past, it's like, I couldn't do it because I just couldn't trust myself. But now it's like, I can put it there, and I know I'm not going to eat over 10 cookies in one go, which is what I used to do. So I brought back that passion of like, you know, baking, but then also knowing that it's not going to control me. So I started sharing that, and I had so many women reach out to me and be like, wait, hold on. I have this. Like, I eat like that, or I really struggle with my thoughts, or and that was like the first time where I was like, oh my goodness. Honestly, I felt like then and there I had that responsibility to not be like others where it's like, eat this because it's guilt-free, or eat this because it's this, or eat it because it only has 100 calories. So I wanted to move away from that and just be more like, okay, yes, it's free from all of this stuff because I want to be inclusive. I want to make sure anyone who might have any sort of intolerance, who wants to maybe a bit more health conscious, whatever that is. But it's different to just be like, only because it's 25 or 100 calories that you should eat this. Because that, a lot of times, narrative kind of leads that way of like, oh, I eat this because this only has 100 calories. I'm just like, but what does that even mean? It's like, it doesn't. To be honest, do you know that all of these calorie things are not even that accurate? Yeah, like around 20% off.
Exactly, because it's based off you having a 2,000 calorie diet or something like that.
You've got that, then you've got the human, the person itself. How is your gut? How do you digest things? Like, there's so many different elements that people just don't consider. And then if you tell people like, okay, everybody's the same, everyone's gonna be like, no, we're not. But then why don't we do it that way?
Exactly.
It's kind of like a
cookie cutter solution for everyone.
Yeah. So that's how it was. Like, I just talked about that, and then many realized that like, oh, like I realized myself thinking, okay, you know what? This is bigger than me now, and I want to go into this. And like, that's really when it started. I went in, I studied it. I wanted to like obviously take it to a level where like it wasn't just like from my lived experiences, but actually have the strategies, the tactics, all of that. And then that's kind of how it was. And I didn't know who was going to sign up at first. Like, okay, you know, just kind of saying it out there like, okay, guys, so like I sell desserts. And also, by the way, I can help you have a better relationship with food. I used to struggle being like, how can I have both these things on the same platform? Yeah. But then I thought, you know what? They're both,
it comes together really well.
Yeah, intertwined in its own way. And yeah, now it's been a few years. And honestly, I'm so excited to like what I can do with it after in the future. So, yeah.
And do you work with men as well?
You know, this is a topic that I've actually did have one or two who had reached out to me. So I don't work with men, and I do understand that it's actually a challenge. Okay. I just find that like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm going to just focus on women because that's where I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I understand that.
I do find like there's that tad bit of like disservice because I have, and I know that it's not just a woman problem.
It isn't, because I work in a male-dominated industry, and I see like on the night shifts, it's like it's a pizza party. Yeah, you know, and order all of these different foods, and you know, not even to go that far. Like even with my husband, if you look at him, he's very fit. He works in fitness. Yeah. You know, he's sculpted so well because he's worked really hard on it. But come nighttime, sunflower seeds, gummy bears, like, and both of us do it together, and it doesn't help when you and your partner like to binge together, right? Oh, yeah, danger. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to ask you, because I feel like you're doing so much for women. So that's why I was just curious if that was the case. Yeah. You know, because I do feel like it's something that is unspoken specifically with men. Yeah. You know, because it's emotional eating. Yeah. And anything to do with emotions is so taboo.
100%.
You know,
but what do you think? Do you think that like if there was, say, a male version of myself doing this, do you not think the men would connect a bit more to it, more than being a woman being like, I know you have emotional eating? Yeah. Not that I would say it that way, but I feel like it would land better. Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like,
I feel like maybe instead of coaching them, you'd go and like speak in public speaking settings. So like, for example, like recently there was this page I came across, and it's called like the Brotherhood. Right. And it's just like all these men coming together, and he's a coach, and you know, so if, for example, something similar to that, that you go speak in, and it's just to speak, or, you know, honestly, as simple as following you learn a lot. So I've been following you for a while. Honestly, I have probably during COVID is right. You started in COVID. Yeah, I think I followed you for as long. Really? Yeah. Oh, okay. I feel like I've followed you for a long time, and I followed you from my aviation account. The other accounts now are new with the podcast. Yeah. So the aviation account, I've been following you for a while. I loved the content you posted. And then I found out I have intolerances. Right. And I was like, oh, I'm so upset. And then I was scrolling, and you were one of the sponsored posts came up, and I was like, I follow you anyway. Why did it sponsor? But okay. So I was like going through, and I was like, oh, let me just go through your website. And then I ordered like the discovery box.
Right.
And I didn't tell anyone at home it's gluten-free and, you know, all of like the way that you've created it. My mom tried it. She's like, oh my God, it's so good. I'm not bloated after. Every single person at home said the same thing. And I was like, they're all gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan. Can you believe? And I'll like microwave them a little bit for everyone. So it's like nice and hot. By the way, my favorite is the cookie and brownie, because I was so indecisive with what I want to eat. So I'm like, it's 2 in 1. It's great. You know, and I feel like you've done such great work with what you're doing, especially with the desserts. Like I haven't worked with you as a coach, but just listening to you speak, I feel so educated already. And, you know, like the other day, and I feel like intolerances people are more aware of them now. So I went over, my friend just had a baby boy. Yeah. And one of her neighbors came over, and her son has eczema. Yeah. He's under 1 and he was really struggling, and his birthday's coming up in 2 months. And she was like, I don't know how I'm going to get him a cake. Everything has egg in it. And I was like, Maitha's Eats. Maitha's Eats and Treats. Guys, is it Maitha's Eats and Treats? Maitha's Treats. I don't know where I got.
No.
Where did I get eat?
I don't know, but it has a good tone to it.
If you bring savory in.
Yeah, right? I think
Maitha's
so, for sure.
But yeah, so Maitha and Treats.
Yes.
So I sent her your Instagram and everything. And I don't know if they've reached out yet because the birthday's 2 months away. But, you know, it helped a little boy. You know, my mom's diabetic, so she really enjoys the treats. We make her coffee when she comes to stay with us. We make her a coffee, and she's like, where's my treat?
Does she really?
Yeah, she does. She does, legit. And she's like, I want to choose, and then I have to microwave it. You know, recently one of my closest friends, she found out she has an intolerance to gluten, eggs, and she was really upset about it. And she loves dessert, big sweet tooth.
Yeah.
I sent her your discovery box, and her father was in town. And he's literally like grumpy old man, you know. He was so upset. And then he got this box of treats. It was the apple paste. No,
the apple crumble.
The apple crumble. Yeah. So the apple crumble, she gave it to him legit the first time he smiled on the trip. I was like, yes. Because like they landed, and like they were having a couple issues with the apartment that she was staying in. And he was so upset. So upset. And I was like, oh, let me just send you guys a box of treats. Like, you're struggling, he's struggling. And then I sent like this box. I'm like, don't tell him it's gluten-free, because then he probably will resist, like, you know, that older Arab male culture, thought process. So he tried, and he's like, oh, this is very good. Tell Jouhayna I say thank you. I'm like, tell Maitha we all say thank you. So I feel like without you realizing, you've actually impacted so many lives, at least of the people that I know. So I can't even begin to imagine how much more you're doing without even realizing. And I wanted you to know that.
Thank you.
Just keep going.
Thank you for that.
It's amazing.
Sometimes I forget like the ripple effect, or like, you know, who that could actually help. Or I think I've heard also what one of my other customers, like, my father doesn't eat any of that kind of stuff, but I just leave it there. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, this is better than the one you bought in, you know, they were like from the store.
Exactly.
What's that one? Just order that one and just okay, yes, Baba, I will do that.
Yeah.
And then I don't hear those kind of parts of the stories, but then I forget, because like, for example, my dad, he loves my treats. And in the past, like growing up, I remember he'd be like, you know, this is the inspiration from the chocolate digestive cookies. My dad would be like, oh, I have to be healthy. And you know, the word digestive, you're like, oh yeah, you think digestive. Yeah. They'd have like 5 or 6 in one go right after lunch. So be quite full after.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like, I grew up with like always having to have something sweet after our meals. And that was just part of our like ritual. And so hearing that, like, of course, like my dad likes it. I forget the fact that like, every other dads, there's other babas out there
that are enjoying parts of the world. Yeah, definitely. And I wanted you to know that, because it's so easy to be, because your business, is it out of your house?
So basically I'm very happy. So it was first in my house, and now it's still within our property, but I built a kitchen from the ground up.
Oh, I've seen little parts in your story.
Yeah, I know. I haven't fully, and I need to just do the full tour. But you know, it's that part of me like, oh, but this part's not done, that's not done. But I'm just like, why?
We want to be a part of all of it.
Yeah, like, why do I even? So you know what? That's kind of helped me to just like, okay, let me just show that. So that's been such an incredible part now, and milestone for the business as well. So I'm very excited about that.
It's amazing, and because you are in your home doing it, and now it's an extension of your home, I feel like you miss out on seeing the effect of what your products are doing and your videos are doing, because, you know, you're at home. You're also recently a new mom as well.
Yeah.
So it was my mission today to let you know that you have positively impacted legit everyone around me and even the crew after we're done with the shoot, I told them, I'm like, you're having a bite. Only a bite, because I want to keep you asked. So they can all get it.
I'll send you guys some more. I'll send you guys some more.
No, don't send. I'm supporting your business. I'm going to buy all the boxes. So yeah, but thank you so much. And I truly do love that. And now if we were to press rewind, I think I remember seeing on your stories how you used to bake with your grandmother.
Yeah.
So is that where it started?
Yeah, I think baking was kind of a thing that my mom and my grandma did. So my mom's Mexican and
Mixed kid. Ooh.
Yeah. And I spent my summers in the U.S. And that's where my Mexican grandparents are at. And she used to always make her famous like oatmeal chocolate chip raisin cookies. They were the best. Now that I think about it, I think there were like times I must have had like maybe like 7 in a row. So now I'm like, interesting. What was I going through there? But in general, I absolutely just love like, and my grandma, she loves to sing, and she's tiny. Like I'm short. Like I'm 5'2.5". I like to put the 2.5 there.
Yeah. Every half matters.
Every half matters. And my grandma is like 4'10".
Oh,
So
wow.
She's tiny. She's little.
Yeah.
And she's always look at me and be like, "Ay, mija, like my darling, like you're so tall." I'm like, why not?
They're like, no, I'm not.
But she used to just like with her, sing. She loved to sing, and she would bake. And I think that was just kind of that first exposure. And then my mom, sometimes when we'd have like, when you have guests over, that's like when you have the best food sometimes.
Yes.
That's sort of how like my mom would be like the nicest breakfast. I'm like, I never see this kind of breakfast.
Like, let's invite everyone over every day.
Yeah, I get so excited when my mom be like, "Oh, I'm having a breakfast." I'm like, yes, coming back from school. Like, I know there's going to be some good stuff. And she used to really make delicious muffins, like really good muffins. But she was kind of like, didn't like ever follow any recipe and just throw it together, which meant that like, 9 out of the times it was good of that. A lot of the time you're like, "Ooh, mom, what was that? That was not good." So I felt like and I'm like the complete opposite. Like I have to have everything measured to the T, which obviously is really helpful in a business.
It is in a business.
Yeah, for sure. In something like that. So I think that that inspiration was like, okay, I like this. And honestly, it was more like for the holiday season that I would bake. My mom used to always have like different magazines. Like there was the Hershey's magazine, chocolate magazine.
Okay.
Back then when like you'd get all these like
all the magazines, like you subscribe to them and they get delivered,
things like that. So I used to make all of the things for like Thanksgiving. We would have like Christmas with like our other family friends. So I'd be the one to make all the cookies. And that was kind of the main times I would bake. I wouldn't bake out of it because at that same time, funnily enough, at the age of 12, 13, I started to become a bit more aware of the foods that I was eating. And I'd be like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have like Capri Sun 3 times a day, or maybe I shouldn't do this." And so I started that journey. And the beginning, it was great, and it was really, I was really excited about it. And I remember going to my mom, being like, "Mama, one of our friends, she's going to become healthier, and her mom's going to take her to a nutritionist. Like, I would love that." My mom's like, "There's no way I'm going to take you to a nutritionist. Like, you're 11 or 12 years old." She's like, "If you want to just like learn to like, get out there, like read." And so I'm always happy that my mom had that kind of approach with me. Because now that I think about it, I remember like that friend who was put on that diet, and we would go for like a burger and fries, and she was only allowed to have like 5 or 6 fries. She used to count all those things. And so I would try to like, I realized that because I wanted to become healthier and I didn't know how to bake healthier, I stopped baking. So I wasn't baking as much because I become more aware of like, oh my God, like at that time I was like, oh my God, I use so much sugar and I use so much butter. So by the time I would be done baking, I wouldn't eat them. I would just give them to my family friends.
Okay.
And I wasn't doing attention like you eat and I don't eat.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it's like I knew too much. I would eat them if somebody else baked them, but I couldn't eat the ones that I baked.
Oh,
because I was too aware
into it.
Yeah. So that was on for a while. And then honestly, I didn't go back into baking until I also had my own intolerances. Like I found I was like really highly intolerant to egg. And then there was this one weird period in my life that I just felt so off. And my doctor was like, just avoid, the gluten, the dairy, the eggs and all of that. And then at that point I was getting better already with my relationship before. This is like way back. And so I was really scared because I was like, hold on, I can't have all of these limitations. And that's when how I went back into baking. So baking was back then, loved sharing it, everything. But then when I became aware, it just, I wasn't taking part in eating it anymore until I changed it.
I love that a roadblock brought you back to something you love.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like that. Because I just want to make clear, like I did bake, but it wasn't like all day, like it wasn't like every single week I had to bake something. It was like I started it, seasonally.
Yeah.
And then I paused from eating it, and then I went back to it.
Oh, fair. And what was your childhood like?
My childhood was great.
Nice.
I absolutely, like, my parents, every year, like, we would travel and we would be gone. You know, it's so funny. So because my mom's side of the family lived abroad and we stayed in their houses, I actually never really spent a summer in the UAE until I started working.
Okay.
And I'm like, why is it so hot?
Oh my God, it's so humid. You're local.
I know, this is so funny. But I never spent it. And I mean, I did. I was like 3 years old, so I don't have any recollection of it.
Okay.
And it was the first time I was like, is this like, you people just stay out? Like, this is so hot. And so, you know, but then I realized, I'm like, wait a second. Now that I think about it, it's because the way we were able to afford it was because we were staying in my grandma's house, my aunt's house. We weren't paying for accommodation.
Yeah.
And that's when we were able to be, I'm like, wait, nobody leaves for 3 months? Like, you know, it's one of those things. Like,
it's just something so normal that you're like, why aren't you leaving for 3 months?
Yeah, like, why would you not do this? And then we would do road trips. So I actually love Disney. We would be in California, so we did like Disney, Universal. We also did Vegas, which is so funny if you think about it. Like every year we went to Las Vegas, but actually used to be a lot more kid friendly. I don't know how it is now, but there used to be big arcade games. There was so many things. Now the places that we love turn into places that are not kid friendly anymore. So yeah, that was basically like our summers. We spent it with our family, and then outside of that, my dad used to like. Every night he used to like read us a story and he used to make up stories every single time. And we crack up so much. So yeah, like he was always there. My mom was also like such a big, like my mom was someone who was quite nervous. So it was like, made us like, no, you can't go hiking. You're going to fall and break your head. No, don't go skiing. So like, I feel like that kind of something that I have in me that I'm still work on, you know, because of that, like, nervousness or being more anxious. I feel like that sometimes with my baby girl, my husband like, don't do that. Like, wait, you're gonna put her on the swing, but what if she falls? And he's like, I'm just gonna put her on the swing. Yeah, you know, it's these little things that I know that I've kind of taken, but also she's like my best friend and she's like our number one supporter. She's amazing. So yeah, all in all, like great childhood. You know, it was great to see like both the cultures, my mom and then my dad. You know, Latin culture is also very much like family, food oriented. So I did see a lot of that like similarity. My mom speaks Arabic pretty much fluently.
Nice.
So she had like when we were born, the one thing my grandma had said to my dad was like, the kids better speak Arabic. And so I think my dad was just like, okay. Like, so the second we were born, my dad would just be like, Bob. You know, like, and she just picks it up and it was pretty good. So I think that was also an interesting dynamic because I actually only learned English when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I only spoke Arabic, but my grandparents, my mom said like, we can't even communicate with our grandkids. Can you do something about this?
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that your father's side of the family was conscious of that because I'm mixed race as well. So half Emirati, half Tanzanian. The most common thing with a lot of mixed kids of all ethnicities is they speak the mutual language between the parents.
Yes.
So I only speak English. Yeah. And my mom, mashallah, she speaks 12 languages. And I'm like, Mom, give me 10% of that. Thanks. You know?
Oh, my God, amazing.
Yeah, you know, so that's the case. And like now she's bored of verbal language, so she's learning ASL. You know, she's just like, oh my God, I need to branch out. So, you know, I'm just really glad that your parents did that so conscientiously because, you know, it does make all the difference.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny now because like even my dad, we try to speak to him in English, we think it's funny. Like it's just because like if we have like our other friends who don't speak it, every time I say it, it's just like I'm so sorry. I just like can't keep doing it this way. And I thank him for that because back then I was just like, but why do we have to? And now I'm like, okay, actually no, there's a purpose for it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like now as an adult, I have made the conscious decision to go back and learn.
Yeah. How is that Arabic?
It's been a journey because I'm a shift worker, so it's quite tough.
A lot going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like even with the podcast, I only do 2 shoots a month because, you know, as we mentioned, like I'm my own boss now.
Yeah.
You know? So I told myself, I'm like, okay, 2 shoots a month, and then they're telling me, okay, but can you do every Monday? I'm like, I can do this Monday, but not another Monday for 3 weeks. And they're like, but why? Yeah. So they want a specific schedule, even though I'm asking for private classes. Okay. You know, so it's been a bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
So I just play the audio while I'm driving, and I'm like,
yeah,
alaikum. It's me, Jouhayna. You know? So yeah, so even when I speak in Arabic, I sound like the voice recording Because if I listen to somebody long enough, I can copy how they speak.
Okay.
So
You're good with accent.
yeah, exactly. So that's how it's been. So if we were to press fast forward in your life,
Yes.
what does that look like for you?
Oh, is this like just in general in life or like professionally, whatever it is I want?
Whatever your heart
Yeah,
desires.
my heart. Honestly, fast forward. I have a few more kids. I have one baby girl, but I would love two more. Love being a mom. And then I would love to see Maitha and Treats just be in hotels, a lot more cafes. And a lot of times I'll get people be like, oh my God, there's this vegan restaurant. Like, you should definitely have your treats there. And I'm like, okay, that's great, but that's not where I only want to be.
Yeah,
I'm trying to send another message that, like, this is something that's always funny because, you'll go in and say you can't have dairy, right? And you can't have dairy.
Yeah, I can't have dairy, yeah.
So then you're going to go to the coffee shops and they're so proud of being like, I've got oat milk, I've got coconut milk. Okay, great. Can I have one of your cookies? Oh, no, that's not dairy free. Okay, can I? No. And you're just like, but why? Like, if you're going to do it in your drinks, at least have one option. I'm not going to push into that. And of course, that option needs to be good because it's a make it or break it for that person's impression on that category of the dessert. So that's like a big thing for me. It's like, I want to see it and I want it to be pushed where, like, even if for other ones, like if I can be creative specifically for them, like that's a big one for me. Hotels, clinics, like we actually are doing it for a clinic now. Like, and we do it. It's just like, how honored do I feel that like you want to give this to your patient while they sit there and, so that's a big part. And I'm actually thinking, so like right now I just do more like very like small groups for my coaching programs, but maybe in the future I would love to be able to have built a community where maybe it's more accessible, and just like have over thousands of women, or thousands of women, just be part of like the heal and the nourish. So I see that for my coaching, and then I see that for the treats business, and then 3 kids in total.
I love that.
In total, yeah,
3 as well. For me, if I ever have kids, I'm like, it should be an even number so we can all go on the rides together. Because we were 3, and my mom would like send us.
Oh, you're right about that.
And then one of us would have to be alone with a stranger, and I'm like,
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, and I would, because I'm the eldest, I'd let the 2 younger ones go.
Of course.
And I'm just over here like, I hate roller coasters. Like, this is what we were discussing before we shot. I'm like traumatized by Disneyland because we went there and the first ride, I felt like I propelled off the ride and flew off in my mind. And I was like, I don't like it here. But I would have to be on my own for most of the rides because I wanted my 2 little sisters to be together. So I'm upset being on a roller coaster and then I'm next to a stranger and all they hear is, so that was my thought process.
My thought process is the car.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't want more than 3, then I have to get a bigger car for the back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Well, if it's 2, they have their drink section in the middle.
They do have their drink section in the middle, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Then I think about, okay, what do they don't really get along later on? Then they've got like the other child.
There's an extra
one.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm also 3, so like I love the 3 dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, let's talk about the other stuff. Like, no. Did you see what happened? Yeah, nobody else talking about it.
I agree completely. It does help. It does help to have that additional ally.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. Okay, so my sisters can just make a really cool cousin. Done.
There you go.
Yep. Problem solved. I really loved learning from you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for educating me and everybody else who's tuning in, and making your amazing dessert. Like, truly. Like, I had you on I have a list of people I thought were cool online. And I was like, eventually we'll see what happens of the podcast and if I can have them on. And we just organically were speaking and you're like, oh, Jouhayna, you follow me? I'm like, of course I follow you. Exactly, because we were like, I can't remember how it came about, but you're like, oh, you follow me? I'm like, yes. You make great treats. I like your videos. Your baby's cute. That's like everything I enjoy about the internet. So I really enjoyed following your journey, and you are impacting the ripple effect, as you said. You're impacting so many lives. Keep doing it. I can't wait to just like waltz into like a really fancy hotel and be like, I want to make this treat, and they'll be like, oh, of course. we have this special set for you in the back. Can't wait.
Oh, thank you. And you're doing an incredible job. Thank you so much for also having a platform like this that we can like connect and have conversations and like really get people to think about different perspectives and learn more about, normally like I don't put myself or not that I don't put myself intentionally, but even the fact that you just reach out, you know, sometimes people think like, oh no, but she would do this, but like, if you don't ask, you don't get, right?
Exactly.
And I think like I see that in you and your approach with just like how you want to even like play with the, you know, with the show, how you are with work. I'm sure there's so much in that that's reflected on you as a person. And like, otherwise something like this wouldn't happen, right? So that's incredible that you do that. It's inspiring that like,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, of course. You know, it's not easy to just like get it going and then also like bring in something and speak about it in a personal level. So thank you for a platform like this.
Press Pause family, thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and follow depending on the platform you're on.
And I'm going to give you a special promo code too.
Are you? Yeah. Went to Disneyland, and my auntie, she said we have to make our money's worth on every single ride. I was forced to go on every single ride I was tall enough to go on.
How did you leave that day?
I just buy everyone a house and then I'm done. I'm like, everyone gets property. I never used to admit it to anyone, but I've decided to be open about it on the show. Inside my head, I'm like, oh my God.
At times made you not have your cup full.
So only now as an adult, like creeping into my 30s, is when I'm like, I need to fill my cup first. I went on a staycation and I was like, I'm going to put my phone in the safe.
I hate accounting.
Oh, you have feelings? This is up the tears. Then in hypnosis, while I had my eyes closed, I started crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mana, my face is wet.
Yeah.